working out well. I am Charese Josie. I am your insightful introvert. I am your licensed clinical therapist. I am your women's leadership coach. Welcome to our weekly Grown Woman Chats. We're going to get it started every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here. We're going to have a grown woman discussion, and our goal is to build confidence, create boundaries, and strengthen your relationships. So the title of this live is Relationships, Do You Do Too Much? Now, if you've ever followed me on Facebook, on IG, if you listen to me in the clubhouse room, in the Grown Woman Talk Room, I'm all about healing, all about education, all about teaching you something and showing you something that maybe you not have realized. So I don't want you to let this title fool you. This is not to hurt your feelings. This is not my goal. That's not how I operate. I don't think people can learn that way. So come in and we're going to talk about some relationships and are you doing too much in your relationship? As people are joining in, every Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're on Clubhouse, the audio app in the Grown Woman Talk Room, every Sunday, 5 p.m. This Sunday, we're going to be talking about success. Are you successful in business, but have a challenging time in the love department? That's what we're going to talk about this week. So if you want to join the discussion, go to the Clubhouse app, search for Charese Josie. Scroll all the way down to my bio and you'll see the Grown Woman Talk Club, and go ahead and become a member. Love to see you on this Sunday at 5 p.m. So this week on Instagram and Facebook, I have been talking about relationships all week. I have been talking about in my clubhouse room with myself and the co-moderators and our special guest host. We talked about relationships and values. We talked about your character in relationships, and we talked about how to build a relationship with love. So I want to bring that into the talk this week, and I want to talk about what are you doing too much in relationships? So what is your relationship with love, right? So when I talk about doing too much, have you ever been into a relationship and maybe you're the one calling a lot, or someone calls you and it ring a half a ring? I had a discussion with someone this week, but it reminded me of my own story, right? When I was a teen and I was dating somebody, dating, right? And so I didn't tell my aunt the whole story. I'm going to be honest. I didn't tell my aunt the whole story. But tell me if you've ever done this. I called the guy to tell him not to call me anymore. Have y'all ever done anything like that? Do y'all recognize how silly that sounds looking back? But I'm going to clean this camera because it looks blurry to me on Facebook. So give me 1 second. All right, it looks blurry. So I called to say don't call me anymore, right? And in retrospect, right? Now I was telling my aunt about the dating and stuff, right? And she said, yeah, sweetheart, because it's stupid to call somebody and tell them not to call you anymore. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I ain't going to tell her that part of the story because I had already did it. Right? But sometimes we do too much in the relationship space of trying to get something, right? So when I say, are you doing too much? Are you doing too much? That was a little too much, right? And sometimes what it is a need for connection. It's a need to validation. It's a need to hold on. And we have to think about what risk that is to us when we do that. Okay. So if you come from an environment where affection is not your go-to, right? Maybe you didn't grow up in a home where I love you was running rampant. Maybe you didn't grow up in a home where there was a whole lot of hugs and kisses. Maybe you didn't grow up in a home where you had a space to share how you feel. Maybe you were crying and whining. What did you get? Quit all that noise, right? And maybe it was something that you wanted to share, and so you learned to silence your voice. That means love may not come easy to you. It doesn't mean that you won't get it, right? It doesn't mean that you won't get it. It just doesn't come easy. So it's like you're fighting against the relationship to get the relationship, right? So that's the doing too much, right? Are you fighting against the relationship to get the relationship? So what does that mean? I want to be engaged with someone who either I'm scared of being single, sometimes we'll use words single and lonely, and we'll use them just interchangeably. I want to try to break that narrative. Because you are single does not mean that you are lonely, right? Sometimes we do feel lonely, we do feel bored, we do want something to do, but singleness does not always equal that. Let me know if you agree with that, right? We need to stop using that interchangeably. Sometimes that falls into doing too much, right? It's not the same. So you have two options when you're trying to build a relationship with love. Right? You have the option to either focus on the other person, or you get a chance to, or you blame yourself, right? Am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? These are the options you give yourself. I've done it. I'm not exempt that I've never done these things. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have called. Maybe I shouldn't have said something. I'm going to call him because he said he was going to do this, and I'm going to call him about this. I'm finding a way to stay connected. Right? Have y'all ever done that before? That's just my story. If it's my story, then y'all just tune out. Be like, just listen to the foolishness of things that I have said and done in relationships with people I'm not even in a relationship with, right? Maybe I was, or maybe I'm thinking a certain thing. I don't know. But I'm finding a way to stay connected. I'm doing too much. What is that taking away from me? The more I do that, the more I engage, the more I try to find a reason to call, the more I try to find a reason to talk, right? Then it looks different. Now, some people may say, I'm talking about when I was growing up in those young dating age, some people may say, well, we got kids. Please don't let your kids be the reason why you are staying connected to the relationship part of this person. Your kids should be a reason why you're staying connected as a parent. So are you talking about parenting things? Not parenting things that you're finding excuse for, right? If it can wait, it can wait. It should wait, right? If there's no plan in place, put a plan in place. Why? This plan is going to keep me from finding a reason to call, to say and do something that I don't need to call and do. That's what I mean when I say sometimes we do too much, because what it does, it takes away from who we are, and it takes away from our growth. And it also takes away from anyone else or anything else being able to come into our life. We don't have space for it. Your man could walk right past you and you focus over here on someone that you know the relationship is not going to work anyway. You already know that. If you're holding out on hope, what are you hoping for? Are you hoping that the person will see your worth and apologize? Are you hoping that there's some level of forgiveness that will be formulated so then you can have space to see some other person who's right in your face? That may never happen. I don't want you to sit and wait on that, right? So what is your relationship with love? How do you know if you need to build it? Well, if you feel stuck. Stuck in what, Charese? I don't know. I don't care. I just feel stuck. I just feel like I'm stagnant. I feel like I'm not moving ahead. You may need to build your relationship with love. I'm going to talk about what that means in a moment. Maybe you feel like you're failing. I try. And when I don't do it well, I end up doing more. Right? I'm trying this. It didn't work out, so I'm going to do more. That didn't work out. I'm going to do more. I'm going to do more work. I'm going to give more. Oh, that didn't work. Let me call and reach out to somebody that I know doggone well I should have left alone probably about 6 months ago. Right? Maybe I'm missing something. I feel like I'm missing out. How come my friends are married? How come my friends have kids? How come my friends have relationships? How come my friends can travel? How come my friends are booed up on the snowy days or taking vacation trips? We don't know their story, right? And sometimes we have a tendency to glamorize other people's lives. We don't know their story. Y'all ever had the people that got divorced and you just shocked wondering what in the world happened? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sad. There was Megan Good and Devon Franklin, right? When they got divorced. I saw so many things about, oh my gosh, I'm so sad. Oh my goodness, this breaks my heart. I'm thinking, first of all, you don't know the people, right? The part of you that's heartbroken is the hope that they gave you that relationships are going to work. That's the part of you that's heartbroken. You don't really care nothing about Megan Good and Devon Franklin. Probably not. Right? The sadness is the hope that you had in relationships from them and from Megan of her persona and her brand, and say, oh, Megan found this guy who has this persona. Maybe that could be me. Oh, now I'm sad, right? You feel like you're missing out. That's the building relationship with love, right? And so I made a post on, I think it was IG, and I said, sometimes we have to learn how to separate our weapons from our wounds. And we put them all together, right? Your weapons are your problems, what went wrong, who isn't supportive to you, all those types of things. Those are your weapons. And so what we do, we say, these are all the things that aren't going right in my life. These are all the people that have done me wrong. These are all the things and situations that have let me down, right? But the wounds are, what messages did I receive that make this weapon feel so large to me? Right? Was I heard? Was I understood? Did I get the message that if I don't get it done, it's not going to get done? That's the wound, right? That's the relationship of love that you need to build with this wound, right? We intertwine them. Because I was done wrong, I don't trust. How about because someone violated me in one way or another, I have learned to be more cautious? Let's separate that. Let's give ourselves some grace. We're not going to put some negative label on us because of someone else's experience. We need to separate the weapons from the wounds. If it's not separated, it's a harder time to build that relationship with love that we want. And that means, do I understand what it even means to feel loved? Do I even understand what that means? I'm going to talk about it. I want to be as clear as I can about how do I even build a relationship with love, because that's important. Because what is it going to do? It's going to prevent you from doing the most in a relationship. So really quick story, I was in this clubhouse room and I really just wanted to ear hustle. I didn't want to be on the stage, but it wasn't that many people in there. And I was talking and I was telling my story in terms of my husband and I dating and all those things. And one of the things that I said was in my story, I was talking about how I wasn't okay with him having female friends in the sense of, this is my sister, this is my cousin, meaning someone's just always involved, you know, like we're talking about this female friend several times a week, or if we have an event, this female friend is always a part of our lives like that. I'm like, no, that's just not my thing. And so one of the girls on there was saying how, wait a minute, I want to stick up for female friends, right? And I'm thinking, I mean, ain't no fight, but if you could stick up if you want to, you know, whatever. So she was sharing her story about how she is the female friend of some guy friend. And in her story was the drama of her being the female friend. And I'm listening to her and I'm thinking, it sounds like your weapons and your wounds have been intertwined to me. I didn't say that because I didn't want to go back and forth with her. That's her story. I left it. But I'm thinking with all this energy that you're putting into this male friend, and now all this energy of his girlfriend not liking you and wanting to know what's going on with you, and then you clarifying that y'all just friends, I'm thinking, what else in your life are you missing? Right? Why are you so connected to this person that there's no boundaries now that he's in a relationship? I didn't go through all that with her. That wasn't my thing. But if we don't separate them, we might be missing this, and we need some emotional space. We need emotional space. I didn't say want, we need. Who's the we? If you're a high achieving woman, you say, I have responsibilities, I have a career, I have a business, I have children, I have myself, I have my parents, I have goals, I have my home, I have this, I have stuff to do. In order for you to do it and do it effectively, you are going to have emotional space. In order to do that, you need to make sure your wounds and your weapons are separated. In order to do that, you need to make sure that you are building a relationship with love. How do you build a relationship with love? I want you to enjoy your own company. How does it feel to be by yourself? If it's uncomfortable, notice I didn't say lonely, to be by yourself, to be in your own space. If it's uncomfortable, you know my work needs to start there. Why am I not uncomfortable being by myself? Right? What happened in my life that I'm like, I don't even enjoy my own company? This is what I've learned about myself some years ago when I was married before. Post that, and I looked back and I said, I was not in a good emotional space in my life, which meant I attracted someone who also wasn't in a good emotional space in his life. So you have two emotionally immature folks that decided it was a good idea to get married. Right? I had to be okay with me first before I could bring someone else in, but I didn't do that work. Just come on in. Be okay with your own space. If you're not, that's fine. That's not a bad thing. Now you know where to start, right? I need to push away people who's taking up my emotional energy, so it gives me permission to not do things for myself, because now I have you in my life who is chaotic. And I don't care who the who is. It could be your mama, daddy, sister, cousin, brother, your dog. I don't know. But if they add chaos to your life, right, they're taking away that space where you can just sigh and learn about you. I want you to smile and laugh often. I didn't realize how much I didn't smile and laugh until I started to. Then I realized, you know what, this is not a norm for me. And then I was getting feedback about my laugh. I guess I have a unique laugh, and people would tell me that in the office. I knew you were coming because I heard your laugh. And I'm like, what's wrong with my laugh? Right? Like, what's wrong with my laugh? Right? But I didn't hear that before. What does it feel like to say, whew, laughing felt good. Smiling felt good. I want you to smile at strangers. Yes, I do. You know what I used to say? People say, why don't you smile? I'm thinking, because I'm minding my business. I have a smart mouth sometimes, mostly on Tuesdays. Don't worry about it. Why aren't you smiling? Right? That's what people say. Why aren't you smiling? And I'm like, I don't have nothing to smile for. I'm minding my business. I'm going to the grocery store. But now that I understand some more inner happiness, and that was my own journey, I have a disposition of peace on my face. So sometimes it may appear that I'm smiling, or maybe I'm not, but it's a look of peace. But if you're like, you know what, I really don't smile that often, that's not my thing, that's your assignment. That's your assignment for the week. When you go into the store, how you doing? How you doing? Hey, have a good day. Thank you. Right? The normal things you probably would say, thank you. You too. You see, I can say that without smiling. I want you to put a smile behind it. Thank you. You too. Smile and laugh and practice and see how that changes your disposition. How does that feel to you? I want you to know that, because you're building a relationship with love. Does any relationship happen in a day? Okay, maybe for some folks, that's your story, not mine. Right? But real relationships, they build, right? It's like building a house. It takes time, right? I want you to try that. I want you to celebrate your wins more. There's a few spaces that I've been in where people are like, hey, come up, tell us what happened good this week. Hey, come up, tell me something good. Hey, come in. I'm thinking, this seems weird. But I said, you know what, let me try that, because I don't think I'm always used to saying out loud what my wins are. My thought process was, I just do what needs to be done and I don't think about it anymore. So anytime when I was at a job and they say, hey, for your performance evaluation, tell me what you did, I would struggle. I'm thinking, what did I do? I know it was good stuff, right? I knew it was valuable. I knew that. But when someone says, well, tell me what you did, I could not tell them. So you know what I started to do? I started to keep a list. On my desktop on the computer, anything that I did that was new, different, valuable, whatever, I would start writing that down for myself. One, because I need to remember you are valuable. You add value. Bonus to the job, but period, I add value. I needed to remember that. I need to acknowledge that. So now when I go in spaces and they're like, celebrate your wins. I was just on Miss Creative Coach on IG, and she said, tell us why you the stuff, right? And she was like, Charese, hop on live. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it, right? I need to step outside of my comfort zone and celebrate my wins. That takes practice, because for high achieving women, we're so used to doing, we're not used to celebrating. We need to get used in the practice of celebrating. Why? Because when that man with that nice cologne comes on, he comes over and he's telling you how great you are. I want you to already have in your mind, I know. You don't have to say it. I know, but brother, I want to know what else you have. I want to know what else you can give me. Why? Because I've already learned to smile for myself. I've already learned to laugh for myself. I'm already learning how to love myself. And I have gained a lot, brother, since I met you on this day. Right? I have acknowledged my wins. So when he tells you all these great things, I want you to think in the back of your mind, I know, but I want to know what value you bring to my life. That's what I want to find out. That's the conversation that you want to start directing, right? So that emotional space that you have now created when you have let all the other chaos go that we talked about earlier, now you have space to see and view him from a different lens than what you would have done before with the chaos in your life. You don't want him to come and save you. You want him to come and add value to your life. All right? Last 2 points. I want you to acknowledge that it was challenging, but you made it through. I want you to acknowledge that it was challenging, but you made it through. Right? What's the it? You get to decide it. Please don't let nobody co-sign on what your it is. Whatever the it is, it was challenging, but I made it through. It was challenging, but I'm learning. I want you to celebrate that. I want you to get your own validation from that. I don't want you calling your girlfriend and say, yeah, girl, I'm glad you did that. If I was you. No. Let me first understand for me how I want to celebrate me and my milestones without anyone else co-signing on that. Acknowledge that it was challenging, but you made it through. And then the last thing I want you to do is I want you to sit in silence and I want you to enjoy it. I want you to sit in silence and I want you to enjoy it. So I hope when I talk about relationships, are you doing too much? Right? The too much is, are you not doing enough for you? So hopefully we have some homework to do, some things that you can practice, and I want you to make it fun. I want you to notice some things. Come into a Clubhouse on Sunday at 5 o'clock. Share with me what you've experienced. Share with me what you've learning. Share your questions. Share your challenges. That's a space where we want to talk back and just have a good grown woman dialogue conversation. But I want to thank you for watching.